question. How do you prepare for watching the season finale of a very, very good show? A show that you've been watching for well over a month at this point and talking about on daily videos whenever possible. Pretty much every time there was a new episode, in fact. By watching the penultimate episode, which was very, very, very good. Good morning, happy Thursday, everybody. Yes, it's Thursday, and just a quick reminder, for Tony R's will be closing on July 27th, so be sure that if you haven't gone already, be sure you can. If you don't live anywhere near the area, you can, I guess, sort of ignore what I'm saying, I suppose. But, if you haven't gone already, be sure you do, or if I wish you had. And, yeah, that's really all I have to, say about that. So, anyway, how about we get into what happened yesterday with the newest episode of Amphibia. This is episode 19, Children of the Spore and Anne of the Year. Obviously, both titles are based off of puns, Children of the Spore, Children of the Corn, which is a Stephen King novel, and Anne of the Year, which is a play on the movie Man of the Year. So, that's where they get the that's where they get the episode titles from. So, Children of the Spore. Hop Hop is trying to, finish this model replica of a model ship. Thankfully, he's not putting it in the bottle. That'd be crazy. Anyway, he's trying to make this model, but the kids are always horsing around and they end up breaking the model. And so Hop Hop goes to get the model fixed. Meanwhile, he runs into this one guy who is a shady-looking character, and he says, "I see your problem with, your kids going, all crazy. I can give you a elixir that you put on their foreheads and they'll behave." And it turns out that, Hop Hop is skeptical. He's had enough, and so he actually, tries to get it to work. And sure enough, it does work. However, it's a little too low, where they get up and... If you've ever seen The Shining, remember the scene with the twins? Imagine like that. And that's pretty much how the kids are acting. So, it turns out that at first, the elixir, does wear off. And they go back to normal. And then Hop Hop's like, okay, I'll finish the model. And then I'll stop using it, never again. But it turns out that this elixir actually contains mushroom spores that are controlling the minds of not just the children, but everyone this guy gave the elixir to. Basically, this guy isn't a guy, or really it's a frog, but you get the idea. It's basically this giant mushroom attached to this guy's head, and he's trying to essentially take over, the town, using, that form of mind control. And then it was hinted at the episode that Bessie really likes, the elixir, wants to eat or whatever. Apparently snails like mushrooms. Who knew? And Hop Hop's like, he takes the model with him, the model ship, throws it at, Bessie's gate to open it. Bessie goes out and eats the mushrooms off of the entire town. Because basically this mushroom got everyone in the entire town to join him. And then, right as Bessie's about to eat the giant mushroom, you have to understand, imagine that you're talking to me and the mushroom is, attached to your head. The mushroom would be essentially controlling, what I'm saying. That's pretty much what was going on. They actually point out how silly it is because, the guy is, Pop Pop is, talking to, the actual guy because, his eyes and face are right here, but, the mushroom's up here. And he's like, I know, it's confusing, right? But, that sort of thing is an honest mistake. Anyway, the mushroom's like, no, please, I'm the last of my kind. If I don't I just wanted to survive. I just wanted to, please don't hurt me and stuff like that. And then I'm thinking to myself, dude, you literally just yelled out your plan to take over Amphibia, which is actually the second time they mentioned it, the title of the show, by the way. You basically explained to Hop Hop that you're going to take over Amphibia using mind control. no, I'm not going to spare your life. That's not what happened, but that's what I would do. I'd be like, no, I'm not going to spare it. So Hopper's like, I can live with that. So he lets Bess eat the mushroom, and that's all that's said and done. But before the mushroom is destroyed, there's some of this elixir spore that's still, on the ground. So after Hop apologizes to Anne, Sprig, and Polly for, using the elixir, they make up and they leave the barn that they were in. And so this one fly shows up, eats some of the elixir, and then the mushroom takes over the fly. And I'm thinking, ooh, I think we have a pseudo-antagonist for season 2. So, speaking of season 2, we have to get to the end of season 1, and it starts with, believe it or not, the second half of this episode, which is Anne of the Year. Basically, the town of Wortwood has a quote-unquote frog of the year. And, Wortwood has, frog of the year, and it turns out that everyone, believe it or not, voted for Anne. And so, the mayor especially was not at all happy with this, so, thinking, Anne doesn't really, toad of the year has to go to the most flawless, selfless person, around. And then, Anne's like, I'll show you, I'll throw a party, because that's what the person who wins Frog of the Year does, they have to throw a party. And it'll be great, and it'll be totally worth, giving me, the title of Frog of the Year. So, Anne comes up with a party plan, and you know what? I am so going to essentially use this party plan for, if I ever throw a party. And a great party has 3 things. Well, technically 4 things, which, if you include food, but let's focus on the 3 things. Entertainment, exclusivity, and spectacle. So, at first, so Anne gives Hop in charge of, entertainment, making him the MC, and then Hop's like, I have waited for this moment my whole life. She gives Polly the exclusivity, aspect, which basically she gives the velvet rope that's attached to 2 metal poles. She gives that to Polly, which actually plays into a funny joke later. And then with Sprig, Anne's like, you have the most important one, spectacle. You're going to profess your love to Ivy. And Sprig's like, what? And so, yeah, it's, everyone loves a good show. Everyone likes spectacle, and what would be more spectacular than, two kids professing their love to each other. Which, it's not wrong, but, that's actually one of the lessons of this episode. If you're going to tell someone how you feel, you should do it when you're good and ready. That's definitely, if you try and force it, it could really be awkward, it could really be wrong. So, only profess your love to the person you want to be with, if you're ready, which is a very good lesson for kids. I appreciate that. So, it turns out Anne essentially, it's not, how do I explain this? Basically, she takes over the party to the point where if it was a wedding, she would be considered a bridezilla. But it's not a wedding, it's just a party. So, she takes over everything. The party starts becoming a complete disaster to the point where, Anne has to fix everything and, save everyone. And then Anne's like, you guys are, Mayor Toadstool, you were right. I didn't deserve this. I'm no Frog of the Year. And then the town's like, well, gosh, Anne, we know you're not flawless. We know you're not perfect. That's not why we voted for you. We voted for you because, and this is actually an ongoing narrative that they essentially are beginning to close here. We voted for you because, you've come so far. And everyone in the town agreed. And even the mayor, who was arguably Anne's biggest critic, if not her biggest critic, says, even I have to admit you did well too, Anne. And so, the party resumes, everyone's having a good time. Believe it or not, Ivy is the one who who asks Sprig out, which was the most adorable thing in the world. Anne just shows up, she's like, aww. And so, Toady, the mayor's lackey, walks up to Anne, and he's like, Anne, there's someone at the bridge outside of town waiting to see you. She says she's a friend. And this is where the episode is really building up the hype. And so Anne gets to the outskirts of town, gets to the bridge, and she finds a person in a cloak. Not an invisibility cloak, but that would be awesome. And it turns out it is Sasha, her friend, who is rocking some pretty cool armor, by the way. And so they see each other for the first time in a long time. They have that traditional girly squeal, like, yee. I'm not going to imitate it, but take my word for it. Where, when that girls do when they see each other after a long time. I swear I'm not sounding sexist. That is what a lot of women do whenever they see each other after, not seeing each other for a long time. And so Anne is like, I have so many questions to ask you. Where have you been? What have you been doing? And then Sasha's like, oh, I just brought some friends with me. And it's Grime and the rest of the Toads from Toad Tower. And Grime is in the background, in shadow. There's a fly going around. Grime's tongue gets the fly. Grime eats it. And he's like, hello, Anne. So nice to finally meet you. And then all the lackeys behind Grime's eyes open, but it's darkness, so it's like kind of creepy looking. And the episode ends there. The hype is real. The hype is real. Ladies and gentlemen, the hype is real. Yes. The season finale comes out today, and I will definitely be watching it later. And so, I wouldn't actually normally do something like this, or maybe I will do it next time. But, how about I make a couple predictions as to what I would like to see? I'd like to happen. Well, foremost, I would like for the episode, to be good. The season finale, I would like it to be good overall. That's, foremost. But as specifically what I'm looking for, one thing I would like to see is there's going to be at least some sort of climax. And that may potentially involve fighting. If that's the case, one thing I would like to see, is Anne wielding a sword that she learned how to do in the combat camp episode. Basically, what I would like to see is, the point of Anne of the Year was that Anne really has come very far as a person, and that's awesome. However, yes, in a perfect world, Anne would utilize pretty much every lesson she's ever learned throughout the course of the season. But the problem with that is the episode is only a half-hour slot, so it's likely you're not really going to get all of that. But you are going to get a couple things. And Anne wielding a sword and using it to fight, that'd be cool. Plus, if we've learned anything from stuff like Harry Potter or any works of fiction that involve or One Piece or anything that involves anyone using a sword, it's that the hero using the sword is always awesome. So, there we go. Or Star Wars. Or pretty much any anime that involves using a sword. Or again, Harry Potter. The hero using a sword, that is awesome. That's one thing I would like to see. Although, speaking of using a sword, I mentioned that Anne gave Polly the velvet rope with the metal poles, right? Earlier in the episode, Polly is literally using that like nunchucks, which is awesome. And then at the beginning of the party, Polly is letting people in. Wally shows up and she's like, sorry, Wally, you're not on the list. And Wally's like, aw. And then Polly's like, I'm just kidding, Wally, go on in. Which she's like, early in the episode, she's like, I am totally going to abuse this power. And she does, but in a funny way, which is awesome. And it was funny in a good way. Anyway, and so in terms of things I want to see, when we got to halfway to the season, episode 10, there was no opening, there was no intro. It was just like the title card and boom, we just jumped right in. I wouldn't mind seeing that here. That would actually that'd be something really cool. I would like to see, sort of a flashback explanation as to what Sasha was doing. We did get a little bit in, Toad Tower as to, that she was there, but in terms of what she was doing, like, between Toad Tower, and now I would sort of like to see that. You know, basically, I would like to see a little bit more exposition than probably what's needed. But, again, exposition can be good. And, Amphibia's been doing a decent job at it. So, I have faith they could do it here. I would prefer that, the season doesn't end on a cliffhanger. But, considering that we are getting a season 2, I don't know if that's going to be the case. But if it does end on a cliffhanger, please don't take forever for season 2 to come out, please. What else? I would like to see, Sasha, have conversations with, the planners. That'd be really cool. Or, Grime to, have a conversation with, Hopadai. Maybe there'd be a way they know each other. That'd be interesting. That'd be really cool. But, I'll definitely explain more about it when I talk about it tomorrow. Man, can 10 o'clock get here, please? I'm not going to be able to watch it at 10, but, I'll definitely, keep you guys posted. So, all in all, I'm really happy I've been watching Amphibia. I cannot wait to talk about the season finale tomorrow. And, again, friendly reminder, Tony R's is closing after July 27th. If you haven't gone, be sure to do it. It'll be worth it. And get ready to watch the Binging with Babish episode of Hot Ones today. That is going to be awesome. So, like, favorite, share, hit that subscribe button, follow me on the social media platforms. Turn on the notifications. I am humbled I made this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy for today. I'm hopeful you have a wonderful Thursday. And remember, if you guys want to talk or chat, I'm always going to be here to lend an ear. And I'll always have your back. Take care and make good choices.